This week in the NFL, brought to you by Hager Slacks. More men wear Hager dress slacks than any other brand. They just fit better, naturally.
The opening day of the 49th season of the National Football League signaled the end of an era. Missing from this season's rosters are the names of men who dominated the last decade of pro football. Gone is Lou Groza, the Toe, the last member of the original Cleveland Browns and the greatest point maker in football history. Gone is Lenny Moore, the whirlwind halfback who led the Baltimore Colts to 3 Western titles. Raymond Berry is gone, leaving behind a legacy of pass receiving records that may never be broken. And gone is Jim Taylor, the rock-hard fullback who for 9 years was the heart and soul of the vaunted Green Bay ground attack. And so this first Sunday of the '68 season was marked by the absence of many familiar faces, but it was also marked by the arrival of many new ones.
The most ambitious of the newcomers was Detroit quarterback Greg Landry, number 11. The only rookie quarterback in the NFL, Landry passed for 2 touchdowns, one of them going to last season's Rookie of the Year, Mel Farr, number 24. Rookie Ronnie Bly, number 22 of the New York Giants, didn't score any touchdowns, but he set up 2 of them with long kickoff returns. This return covered 66 yards. Brendan McCarthy, number 41, a first-year man from Boston College, was the lone bright spot in an otherwise dismal showing for the Atlanta Falcons. Tom Mitchell, number 84 for the Baltimore Colts, made his first reception in the NFL a touchdown and gave Baltimore a lead they never lost. Dennis Homan, number 24, last season's All-American from Alabama, made an impressive debut with the Dallas Cowboys. His 36-yard touchdown reception climaxed a smashing opening day victory for the Cowboys. But the most exciting performance by a rookie was turned in by Earl McCullough, number 25. Last year, as a collegiate at Southern California, McCullough set a world record in the high hurdles. This year, he is playing for the Detroit Lions, and he is running over chalk stripes instead of hurdles. In his first pro game, Earl caught 5 passes, 1 for 80 yards and a touchdown.
Hi, Pop.
Hey, what do you got there?
Some Hager slacks, Pop.
Your papa's a tailor, and you buy a pair of slacks?
2 pair. I'm wearing one.
2 pair?
These are different, Pop. They're Hager Imperials.
Different how?
Look at this extra deep waistband. Fits more comfortably in a wound curl.
Pure wool?
Sure, this wool mark is awarded only to products made of the world's best. Pure virgin wool.
You got this kind of money to spend on the slacks?
Guess how much, Pop?
Yeah, $40.
No.
30?
Mm-mm.
28 or 50?
$18, Pop.
$18. At that the price, they're gonna lose money on every sale.
And they have others up to $25. Beautiful.
Let me look at the fit, huh? Que belle, it's so beautiful.
I know you're
Hager Imperial slacks, they just fit better, naturally.
Aside from a brilliant array of new faces, the dominant trend of the NFL's first week was a powerful display of offensive football. The reigning powers of the NFL beat their opposition as expected, but with much more fury than anticipated. The Washington Redskins caused the only real surprise as they bombed and battered the Chicago Bears, a team whose pride rests with a defense that's known for its legendary toughness.
To complement the rush of the Bears' front four, inventive head coach Jim Dooley instituted a 5-man defensive backfield aimed at nullifying football's most lethal offensive weapon, the forward pass. But today, the Bears faced one of the NFL's premier quarterbacks, Sonny Jurgensen, and Sonny riddled the Bears' secondary for nearly 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. Jurgensen's favorite receiver in the early going was last year's leading receiver, Charlie Taylor. With it 3rd and 7 on the Bears' 16, Sonny tossed a perfect strike to towering Pat Richter for a 7-0 Redskin lead. Unable to perform through most of the exhibition schedule due to a nagging arm injury, Jurgensen stilled all fears about his arm by establishing complete mastery over the Bears. The birth of a decent Washington running attack can in part be attributed to the acquisition of All-Pro guard John Wooten, number 67, who led Swift Jerry Allen to a 2-touchdown margin over Chicago. Trailing 14-0, the Bears unleashed Jim Dooley's total offense concept, which in effect is simply Gale Sayers running, receiving, and in general just being marvelous. Nearing the close of the first quarter, Sayers zipped 43 yards through the Redskins before stepping out of bounds on the Washington 12. Chicago quarterback Jack Concannon, who is always more comfortable running than he is passing, accounted for Chicago's first touchdown. Aided by number 72, Jim Cadill's crushing block on Pat Fisher and some nifty running of his own, Concannon led the Bears to within 1 touchdown of the Redskins. In the second period, a Bear drive to tie the game was canceled when Concannon was forced to flee from the pocket, and his desperation pass was intercepted by Brig Owens on the 1-foot line. Always the gambler, Jurgensen stuns the Bears by passing on first down. Behind flawless protection, he lofted a pass to set back Jerry Allen, who easily outdistanced linebacker Dick Butkus and raced a record equaling 99 yards for a score. Of the 4 99-yard passes for touchdowns in NFL history, the Redskins have taken part in 3 of them. Behind again by 14 points, the Bears rallied as Brian Piccolo dashed 12 yards for a touchdown that narrowed the Redskin lead to 21-14. Before the season, the experts conceded that new, varied, and sophisticated defenses had caught up with the offense. Today, Sonny Jurgensen destroyed one of football's most potent defensive units, and on this Sunday, defense almost became a lost art. On 2 passes, one to Charlie Taylor and the other to Pat Richter, Washington had regained their 2-touchdown advantage. Richter's second touchdown of the day served to accent his promotion from a seldom-used spot player to a full-time starter. Refusing to wilt under Jurgensen's constant pressure, the Bears came back on a pass to Sayers and a knifing 5-yard touchdown run by number 29, Ronnie Bull, that made the score 28-21 at halftime. By the start of the second half, both teams had settled down. The scoring did not come in flurries, but it still came. On the only scoring play of the period, Jurgensen and Richter collaborated a 3rd time for a touchdown, climaxing the finest day by the tight end in a heretofore modest 5-year career. In the fourth quarter, the Bears fought back gallantly, but it was too late. Jack Concannon's ground-eating scrambling carried Chicago to their last score of the game when Ronnie Bull blasted 8 yards to his second touchdown. In a 38-28 victory, the Redskins had found out that all they missed during a lackluster preseason was the strong right arm of their quarterback, Sonny Jurgensen. In defeat, the Bears seemed to have lost something just as valuable, their defense. On the very first play of the exhibition season, Philadelphia Eagle quarterback Norm Snead was injured, and the Eagle offense lost its luster. Against the Green Bay Packers, the Eagles enjoyed sporadic moments of brilliance before being overwhelmed 30-13. The only consistent performer on offense for the Eagles was number 37, fullback Tom Woodishick, who caught passes and ran through the world champions for more than 100 yards. Philadelphia's sluggish offense sputtered and wheezed until the last quarter when they managed their only touchdown on a 5-yard pass from Hill to split end Gary Ballman. About the only thing new about the Packers was their head coach, Phil Bingson. Their style and excellence of play reflected no changes as they ground out a first-quarter touchdown by Jim Grabowski. The refurbished Eagle defense could not cope with the Packers' veteran trio of receivers. Number 81, Marv Fleming, and number 86, Boyd Dowler, consistently were able to outreach the smaller members of the Eagles secondary. When the Packers needed speed, not size, they went to number 84, Carroll Dale, who responded with a touchdown early in the second quarter. For all purposes, the game was over just before halftime when quarterback Bart Starr surprised the Eagles with a 55-yard connection with Boyd Dowler, who outmuscled Eagle cornerback Al Nelson for the football. With a comfortable 21-6 lead, the Packers came out for the second half and exhibited their championship trademark, the balanced attack. Running back Donnie Anderson, behind the blasting blocks of guard Gale Gillingham, number 68, ran through the Eagles for 92 yards. Quarterback Bart Starr completed an astonishing 14 of 18 passes for 220 yards and 2 touchdowns as the Packers won their first game for their new coach in easy fashion. Jerry Kramer's third field goal ensured the Packers' 30-13 victory over the hapless Eagles, as Green Bay proved convincingly that dislodging them from the Super Bowl will be a stern task indeed. In Metropolitan Stadium in Minneapolis, Viking quarterback Joe Kapp had a turkey shoot against the Falcons as he passed for nearly 200 yards. Connecting on 16 of 20 attempts, he threw to all his receivers at least once. Early in the second quarter, the Vikings recovered a fumbled punt on the Falcon 15-yard line. This proved to be the turning point in the game. Kapp then found tight end Billy Martin across the middle for a touchdown, and the Viking offense gathered momentum. Minutes later, halfback Clint Jones swept left end and raced 43 yards to the Falcon 37. On the next play, Kapp threw a perfect touchdown pass to fullback Bill Brown, virtually all alone in the secondary. The Vikings could do no wrong. They went on to set a team scoring record while romping over Atlanta 47-7.
Two years ago, the Dallas Cowboys produced one of the most devastating attacks in pro football history. Last year, their offense stumbled, and they won on the strength of their defense. On Sunday, they seemed to more than regain their lost firepower, while another winner, the New York Giants, were still faced with a familiar weakness.
For Homer Jones, for Joe Morrison, And for the rest of the New York Giants, it was the opening of a brand new season. But the first play from scrimmage gave evidence that New York had the same old problem, defense. After a fine catch, Pittsburgh's Roy Jefferson was pushed out on the Giant 10. Dick Hoke, number 42, the Steelers' veteran halfback, cut inside a solid block by Earl Groh, then slipped through the Giant line to give the Steelers an early 6-0 advantage. Fran Tarkenton ignited a Giant counterattack with a swing pass to Randy Manier, number 27. Last season, New York registered more touchdowns than any other team in the NFL. Tarkenton collaborated with veteran Joe Morrison on a flag pattern that resulted in New York's first score of 1968 and a 1-point lead over Pittsburgh. The Steelers, rated by many experts as the dark horse of the Century Division, regained the momentum when Kent Nix found Jefferson open again for a 20-yard advance. On a rollout, Nix located fullback Earl Groh on the goal line, and Pittsburgh reclaimed the lead, 13-7. In the second quarter, Tarkenton passed the Giants back into command with another touchdown toss to Joe Morrison. Tarkenton and the rest of the New York offense had little time to rest because on the next series, big Bob Lertzema, number 71, intercepted Nix's screen pass and rumbled to the Steelers' 6. Randy Manier vaulted into the end zone to give the Giants a 21-13 advantage. In 1967, Homer Jones, number 45, scored more touchdowns than anyone else in the league. He didn't score any against the Steelers on Sunday, but he covered 84 yards on a play that set up the Giants for their fourth and final score. Tarkenton, who had already passed for 2 touchdowns, ran for a third that put New York ahead 28-13. With less than 2 minutes left in the half, Kent Nix resumed his attack on the Giants' secondary. A completion to John Hilton with 56 seconds to play put the Steelers in scoring range. Nix rifled his second touchdown pass into the hands of Dick Compton, and the Steelers trailed by only 8 points at halftime. In the second half, the Giants sealed the cracks in their pass defense and shut down the Steeler aerial game. Pete Gogolak added 2 field goals, and New York coasted to a 34-20 victory. In the opener at Dallas, the Cowboys displayed their true championship caliber as they blasted off with a club record 59 points against the injury-riddled Detroit Lions. On the Cowboys' first offensive play, halfback Dan Reeves set the keynote for the day with a 19-yard completion to flanker Lance Rensel. Reeves proved himself the complete football player as he took Don Meredith's pass and batted his way for 18 more yards. Tight end Pettis Norman added another 12 on a square-out pattern. On third down with 11 to go at midfield, Meredith found Bob Hayes in the open, and that means 6 points against any team. Due to a block conversion attempt, Dallas held a slim 7-6 lead as the first quarter ended. At the start of the second quarter, Don Meredith faked to Dan Reeves, eluded the grasp of 4 Detroit tacklers, and threw to Pettis Norman for 21 yards. At closer range, we can clearly see the competitive spirit of quarterback Meredith. This puts the fire in the Dallas attack. The Dandy one looked better than ever as he hit on 16 of his 19 attempted passes. Not once was Dallas forced to punt. Meredith's faking helped set Dan Reeves free for 16 yards. Behind John Nyland's perfect trap block, fullback Don Perkins slashed for another 8. Versatile Dan Reeves then showed he also has power as he rammed into the end zone for 6 more Dallas points. Just before the half, left linebacker Chuck Howley intercepted, and aided by Cornell Green's block, he gave the Cowboys a comfortable 25-point halftime lead. In the second half, the Dallas line again forged huge openings for Cowboy backs. And Dan Reeves was still up to his old tricks with Lance Rensel. And Reeves did not seem to tire of scoring touchdowns. Early in the third quarter, with Dallas ahead by 38-6, Craig Morton and Walt Garrison, number 32, took over the powerful Cowboy offense. The result? More points. Dave Simmons set up the 7th Cowboy touchdown with another alert play, the 4th interception of the day by a Dallas linebacker. Craig Morton wasted no time as he sprinted right and hit number 1 draft choice Dennis Homan for 14. Morton then sprinted left and kept right on sprinting to the Detroit 3-yard line. Walt Garrison accounted for the touchdown. On a day of offensive fireworks, the Dallas Cowboys went off with the loudest bang of all.
Well, here's one way to dress. But more men like to start with a comfortable fit and good looks of Hager slacks. Hager Forever Press slacks of acrylan acrylic and rayon hold on to a crease, bounce out wrinkles like a pro. Then, too, there's that acrylan wear-dated guarantee for 1 full year's wear or your money back.
And when he's feeling frisky, he can just let go. His Hager slacks are going to keep right on looking trim and crisp. Oops, wrong pew, Buster, but no matter. Heat and humidity are no sweat to Hager Forever Press slacks. That fresh pressed look will last through heat and hot water. Even when they get soiled, just chuck them into a washer and forget it. No ironing ever needed.
And for the young swingers, Hager Forever Press slacks also come in the slim Mustang model with color-coordinated belt. It's wear-dated, too.
So when you want to be well-dressed and comfortable, too, start with Hager slacks. They just fit better, naturally.
Last year's divisional champions all emerged unscathed from the first week's combat. The Browns sloshed to a hard-fought 24-10 win over the New Orleans Saints at the rain-soaked Sugar Bowl. The Rams' awesome defense contained St. Louis 24-13. But the sweet taste of victory must be tempered by the hard truth that 13 more rugged games face each champion and challenger. One game, one victory does not constitute a season in such a demanding sport like pro football, where September's winners become forgotten in December's glory. I'm Pat Summerall.